Greetings ladies and gents, and welcome to my channel, where I like to make audiobooks of different web novels and series and fiction from across the net. In this video, we will be doing the latest chapter for Fork This Life, taken from the website Royal Road. If you are so inclined, please do all the normal YouTubey things to make the algorithm happy, because an unhappy algorithm is an unhappy world. Also, if you enjoy the story, please go follow the links below and support the author. Anyways, on to the story, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 44, Answers. Finding Joe isn't too difficult. I just have to wait for one of the classes we're both in. Advanced Water Creation Magic, to be specific. It was between that or Alteration, and chances were I'd need them both. Water is everywhere, but I can't be sure which is more manner efficient between gathering water from the atmosphere around me or just making it. Anyway, I go up to him at the end of class. As per usual, he's sitting there looking at my hovering form, as if he's already known I was going to talk to him. I have questions, I state simply. Joe shrugs, getting up. You wouldn't be you if you didn't. Best we talk in private, though. Follow me. I follow him as he leaves the classroom. Thing is, as paranoid as I am, as strange as Joe is, he's had plenty of opportunities before to harm, capture, or do whatever he wants to me. He hasn't. I'm not entirely sure that he's a friend, but I'm fairly sure that he doesn't have any bad intentions. That, or he's just mad and completely unpredictable. But as far as I can tell, he's not. He's odd, but it's weird odd, not crazy odd. To my surprise, he leads me to the dorms, to a single-person room, a bit more expansive than my shared room, but still quite simple living. Why did you think I slept in an alley in the city or something? Joe shakes his head. After an awkward pause, I reluctantly admit, well, kind of, yes. Well, that thought did tempt me. His eyes shifted to the side momentarily before he diverts the topic. But you're here to ask questions, not to admire the decor. Ask away. First of all, I need to know how I can trust your information. You're almost always vague or indirect when you say things, and it's usually things that are impossible to confirm. I start bluntly. If you like, I can also say things like, the grass is green and the sky is blue. He offers unhelpfully in a tone as if he is being helpful. I groan. How do you get your information then? Joe looks at me for a long moment and then shakes his head, sighing. Fine. I'll throw you a bit of a bone. In the most basic of senses, I know some people who know a lot of things. We talk sometimes, and some of that knowledge is occasionally exchanged. Thus, I know a bit of many different things, both that are happening and have already happened. All right, that's better than nothing, I concede, but you also seem to know about the future. He frowns. I don't know about the future, he says, stressing the word. The future, technically speaking, doesn't exist. Imagine time is like a tree, a single root, branching out more and more as it ascends. Each point at which it branches, it is an instant in time. All things that are, Joe continues. Now imagine that there are an ant or something on the tree climbing up it. The ant is you, by the way, or me, depending on your perspective. It's simplicity itself to know where the ant is, and just look at where the ant is. Sure, I reply, assuming that you can see the ant. Indeed. And speaking realistically, that is actually a big assumption. Joe nods, but we're speaking hypothetically here. So, we know where the ant is, and it's not much more difficult to figure out where the ant was. That we just track back down the branches from the ant towards the root of the tree. That is to say, for the ant, there is only one possible present and one possible past, but to know where the ant will be, it could go up any of the branches, I say, understanding where he's going with this. Maybe you could get lucky on the first branch and guess right, but the next one, and then the one after, the chances are against you. Exactly, Joe exclaims. The future is infinite. That is to say, even if somebody found a method to look up the tree from where they currently were and looked at one of the branches above, that future may never come to pass for them. So no. I don't know all of what will be. I know some of what may be. Pondering that for a moment, I accept it as fairly believable. All right, I can understand that. For now, I think I can accept that you're at least somewhat believable. I'm hurt, Joe says in mock sadness, holding his hand on his chest. I've never spoken anything but truth to you. Forgive me if I don't take the, eccentric old man at face value, is my dry response. He shrugs. So, what's going on? I ask mildly. He sighs. Assuming you mean with the academy and the kidnapping, that'd be at level 80. Exasperated, I ask, why are always 80 and 90? Why can't it be something a little lower? Because you technically surpass most of the lower milestones, Joe states, much to my surprise. But I'm only level... I trail off in confusion. Wait, so there's some other criteria you didn't mention? Sure, he shrugs, but levels are easier. Much easier. You have enough money. You can practically buy your way to level 50 or so. Past that point, it gets a lot harder, sure. But it's still easier than the alternative. Which is, I prompt, skill proficiency. Although they're not exactly the hardest to advance in, the rarest or powerful. You do still have a few skills at master. Combined with your actual level, I figure that puts you around level 55, level 60 for what you're qualified to know. He muses, scratching his chin. Wait, how do you know about my skills and level? I ask with alarm. Like 90% of my combat strategies relies on my opponents not understanding what I can do. If there was a way for them to see my status, I'll be a severe disadvantage. Ah, well, his eyes shift awkwardly. It's not really something you're supposed to be able to know about yet. It's a pretty well-kept secret, you know. Suffice to say, there's a title. Don't worry. The kind of people that can get the title aren't the kind of people you'll ever be fighting. Not unless everything really goes to hell, figuratively speaking. I mentally breathe a sigh of relief. Have I ever met someone with this title apart from you, I mean? Met, he considers. Just once, I think. Cleo has it. Apart from that, you have probably seen a few here and there. Cleo, huh? I muse. Wait. Then, when I was called up to her office when I enrolled, yeah, she was confirming everything that she had heard about you and checking your titles and skills for anything suspicious. Joe shrugs. Huh. I thought she had some sort of skill to determine intentions, but... Wait, I'm getting sidetracked. I break off my current train of thought as it occurs to me, returning to my original objective. Isn't there anything that you can tell me about what's happening? Is the whole thing with those kidnappers really over? What were they really after? Wait, that's all you've wanted to know? Joe responds with a chuckle, shaking his head at himself. And here I was, trying to be all secretive. Nah, it's not over. Of course not. They're not giving up so easily. As far as what they're after, knowledge is and has always been the Academy's most precious resource. The library, that's what they're going for. I think for a moment it's probably the most defended place in the Academy, and I doubt I can see anything more than a surface layer. It's divided into sections. I've heard students have access to the first 3, no matter how long they've been here. Rumor has it that it's only teachers can access the 4th. They would have tried to infiltrate via a student first. It would be stupid not to. So either the infiltration was unsuccessful, or what they sent deeper was in Section 3, or they got impatient, I guess. I add, as an afterthought, less talking to Joe at this point than speaking my thoughts aloud. It would be much more difficult to plant a teacher in the Academy. An institution this important, they must vet their staff thoroughly. My train of thought continues to run, new information falling into place with previous thoughts and other information formerly considered unrelated. Theoretically, it's possible, given enough time, skilled agents and resources. From the facilities and the means I saw when we got kidnapped, they had the latter two at least. They were clearly all well prepared, well funded too, if that wasn't even their main facility. Wait. Well funded, skilled, probable inside information, probable means years invested into this, and yet they were taken by surprise by the Academy's response. Sure, Simon's grandfather was one to destroy them, but our teacher seemed certain that the Academy could deal with them, even after seeing what they were capable of. And Simon's grandfather seemed to be similarly think that he wasn't particularly required to be there. Doesn't add up. Either they're a bunch of idiots or something else was at play. Something, bigger. How old is the Academy? I ask, running a wild theory. Joe tilts his head. About 2.5 millennia, give or take a few decades. And it's been here the whole time. Not destroyed, not taken over, anything like that. I ask another question, running a smaller vein. Nothing like that. Stood strong the whole time, not for lack of trying on some people's part. One of Joe's eyebrows raises. You know, there should be some history book that you could read for this. No, I can't break my chain of thought, I rebut, and it's always been in the forefront in terms of magic. Pretty much, Joe confirms, his second eyebrow joining his first. Impossible! His eyebrows hike further up his forehead with a blatant projection. With magic, knowledge is power. With power comes the envy of others. With enough power, enough envy comes conflict. This is an educational institution. It might be the fortress magically, but in terms of getting inside, any sufficiently determined and skilled enemy could do so and compromise its defenses. The very fact that it's never happened strongly suggests that the existence of a higher power protected the Academy, one that can't be contested. A god. Well, Joe starts, but the train of thought hasn't yet reached the lost station. They were overly confident despite knowing having lesser forces. Assuming my former assumption is correct, it follows that there is a god on their side as well. But for there to have been a god assisting them, that god must have thought themselves capable of opposing the god protecting the Academy, and yet there was no interference from them when their forces were being decimated. I continued, Joe raises a finger, unless they weren't expecting opposition in the first place. My voice powers forward, ignoring Joe's objection. Perhaps they were more powerful than the god protecting the Academy, but the god protecting the Academy had an unexpected ally. Or they expected the Academy's god not to notice. The Academy's god was elsewhere, distracted, preoccupied in some way or another. But unbeknownst to the opposing god, the Academy's god had asked an ally to protect the Academy in their absence. Joe just stares at me, or something like that. Impossible to say which, I finish. What the feck? Joe swears. Thunder rumbles down from the sky and the window despite the clouds there being perfectly white and puffy. Jabbing a finger in the general direction of the sky, Joe exclaims, "Oh, piss off. I barely gave him anything. Cat's out of the bag now. He's well within his rights to figure stuff out if he wants to be such a smart aleck." A spark of electricity jolts down from the stone of the window in the zap of the offending fingertip. Joe waves his finger in shock. "Cheeky bugger." He shakes his head and turns back to me. "It's official. I suck at keeping secrets. Now get out of here before I let something else slip. Never should have suggested this game." Joe shoos me out of the door and stamps it behind me. I was mostly bluffing to make him get angry at the sheer inaccuracy of my words and correct me out of pure annoyance, but, okay. Gods. This means, I don't know what this means. Back on Earth, if you were still to talk about a god, you'd picture some almighty, mysterious being, indescribable, unfathomable, and, as far as most people are concerned, far off. Not having much or any impact on one's life that couldn't be attributed to something else. Luck or happenstance. I've known for a while now that the beings that the people in this world call gods aren't like that. They're powerful, sure, though exactly how powerful I haven't the slightest idea. Mysterious, sure. Far off, maybe. Who knows exactly where the gods reside. But there is never any argument over whether they exist or not. On Earth, someone might say, "I believe the god of this religion exists," and another will likely refute their claim. Here, it is accepted as common sense that gods do exist, all of them. Full stop, no question, no argument, it just is. I've also known for a while that these gods are paying some sort of attention to these worlds. Their priests and paladins act as their arms and legs, carrying out their will on the worlds. And sometimes, I don't know how often, the gods speak to at least their priests, probably their paladins too. What I didn't realize is that the gods themselves are also acting in worlds. How much, how often, I don't know. Hard to know anything about beings known as gods beside what they want to be known. But it makes me wonder, has this second life of mine been molded by gods, beyond just my creation? How many times when I just got lucky was it really due to luck? Me dropping directly on a robot and gaining just the right trait I needed to break free of insanity. Ferdinand's party just happening to notice the hole that I'd made in a cave in the middle of nowhere. Me getting a spider matriarch, getting summoned by Drea. All of these skills and traits that I've accumulated to this point. The gods went so far as to bring me back from death. I wouldn't be a stretch to think that they might be interested in my new life for some reason. Maybe that's what Joe is, an agent of the gods, tasked to watch over me for when they're busy with something else. It's clear at this point that he has at least some link to the god or gods. whether he is a priest, paladin, or something else. Well, it would explain some of his strange abilities he's seen, and how he got into the academy. If he's an agent of a god or gods, that they are friendly with a god of this academy, it would be simple for them to arrange his enrollment. Then again, I've met and seen priests and paladins. They had mana. He doesn't, unless it's a quirk of the specific god he follows. He's something different again. Or maybe he's something weird species that just doesn't have mana, or their bodies block out things like mana sight. I mean, he looks human, but who knows? There's plenty of ways to change your appearance, and there are some races that don't look too different from humans. Well, whatever, and whoever he is, it looks like I'll have to look into the gods soon. Doubt I'll find anything relevant to myself, but it won't hurt to learn some common knowledge about them. But moving back to the current events, if gods are involved, doesn't that mean that, there's nothing I can do? I mean, regardless of what our side and the other side, whichever of the gods comes out on top can just sweep away any resistance. Things like these are the reason I generally prefer to stay unnoticed, just another person in the background. The less people think about me, the better. My heart goes out to visionaries, the heroes, those who spend their lives bettering others, because I know the world needs people like them, and because I know that I would never do what they do. Not because I wasn't strong enough or smart enough. It may sound a bit too boastful, but I think I was born with a pretty good body. I'm talking about my old life, of course, and I was always pretty quick to learn. If I put my mind to it, I probably could have been successful in many different careers where I could have made a positive difference in the world. There was only one reason why that never happened. Well, maybe not just one reason, but it was certainly one of the largest reasons. Fear. I feared what would happen if it turned out that actually I wasn't good enough. What if I stepped up to the plate, but I failed, and I had taken the place of someone better who could have succeeded? What if people ended up hating me for my failures? What if I ended up hating myself? I feared that would happen if I tried to do something good, but I got steamrolled by some company trying to make some quick bucks on someone's misfortune. I never had been optimistic. I knew that people were capable of doing some very dark things. I don't expect it, but I'm aware of the possibility. Even if people didn't directly try and stop what he was doing, too many people are willing to turn a blind eye if the alternative is to their deficit. To my shame, myself included. And what I think I feared most of all was to no matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, it wouldn't make a difference. I had seen people, intelligent, brilliant people, who warned of things to come, displaying facts, lengthy analysis, studies, simply ignored. Nobody cared that people starved to death, ravaged by the drought or disease. Nobody cared that slavery still thrived in the world. Nobody cared about the business sending absurd amounts of information about people to who knows where. Nobody cared about politicians and other big names committing serious crimes and simply getting away with it. Nobody cared that the number of species going extinct was only increasing year by year because of us. Nobody cared that the world was burning. Nobody cared. Or at least, not enough people, nor the right people cared to make a difference. I knew from a young age that I wasn't in control of my life, and probably never would be. It was the leaders of the country that I was in, the big businesses. They made the laws. They could influence the public's opinion on what was right and what was wrong, if they wanted to. Twist morals, beliefs, and heck, even the ordinary people around me. If I were walking down the street and someone passing me suddenly pulled out a knife and stabbed me, there would simply have been nothing I could do. It's like they say, ignorance is bliss. I saw the world. I'm not ignorant enough to say that I saw and knew everything that was going wrong, but I saw enough to know that there was a lot more going wrong than there was being done to rectify it, and it scared me a whole lot. So I avoided attention from anyone, big and small. The methods I used, I don't know if I could put a name on all of them, whether I even knew about all the things I did. A human in fear can do extraordinary things, sometimes stupid things, too, to be fair, but also extraordinary. I never made any conscious decisions, never really thought about it, to be honest. But by the time I realized it, my footsteps grew soft, Later in life, I found it difficult when trying to approach someone because I had to constantly try and make noise, so as to not startle them when they would finally notice me standing right beside them. I never spoke louder than I needed to. If you were to ask even my mother to give an example of the time I shouted, I doubt that she would remember one. I could count on those occasions on one hand, could count them on one of my tines, actually. My clothes, no pictures, no logos, plain, unpatterned, soft fabrics that wouldn't rustle or make a noise. You would think that I would make an easy-to-buy clothes, but it is surprisingly difficult to find good shirts that are just, grey or blue, but nothing too bright. I never made gestures while speaking and always thought at least twice before what I was saying before opening my mouth, especially about whether doing so was necessary in the first place. I always waited for others to give their opinions before voicing mine, and if mine conflicted, then, generally speaking, I kept my mouth shut. If I was in a public space, my face was almost always neutral, with no particular expression. People who didn't know me very well probably thought I was practically emotionless. Some days, I wished they were right. Leadership roles I avoided like the plague, although somehow they still found their way to me. I learned that it was the best to preempt the role from defaulting to me by recommending someone else, particularly if I could give reasons why they were a good idea. Nobody likes it if you give reasons why you aren't a good idea. They take them as excuses, as you trying to shirk off the responsibility. And well, yes, I was, but there was no reason to lower their impression of me. Better for them to think that I acknowledged and appreciate the efforts of others. Anything public I also stayed away from, social media, even discussion boards. I was a ghost, sometimes observing, but for the most part, I'd observed. In a word, I was plain, from my looks to my actions, not handsome, not ugly, nothing to stand out, nothing to notice. Perhaps it was fitting then that in my new life I was a fork, the most common of household utensils. Nobody would notice it if they had one extra or one less than usual. I would have continued to live my life as I had before death. I had pretty much up until now, but now I know, for better or worse, there are beings out there with power beyond my understanding that have shaped this new life, that may continue to shape it, and I don't trust their intentions are good. Or, even if they were, it's my life, it's my path. I want to be able to dictate my direction of the path myself. There is no way to hide anymore. Hell, Joe was practically here waiting for me when even I didn't know beforehand that I was coming to this world. I need knowledge of gods, of their intentions for me. I need power, enough that they can't ignore me, if need be. Then again, that was pretty much my plan originally. The stakes just got higher. Sometimes I wish I could forget things, that detest not knowing things, but sometimes that knowledge turns out to be more of a curse than a blessing. Name, Gerald. Race, Living Fork. Level, 33. Experience, 6,419 out of 7,600. Gender, none. Age, 2 years. Local time. Allegiance, none. Fame, 1. Strength, 6.5 becomes 65. Intelligence, 54.7. Dexterity, 9 becomes 18. Wisdom, 54.5. Charisma, 6. Luck, 12.1. Hardness, 26.94. Durability, 18.54 out of 18.54. Mana, 1094 out of 1094. Mana regen, 10.9 per minute. Psi, 545. Psi regen, 5.47 per minute. Ki, 35,425. Ki regen, 3.54 per day. Unspent status points, none. Titles, living. You are a living being, and as such, the energies of life heal you, and the energies of death damage you. Trait, average life energy absorption. Trait, average death energy weakness. Trait, minute life affinity. Trait, negative minute death affinity. Progenitor, the first of your species and its forefather. Your reputation affects the reputation of your entire race. Trait, minor fame gain enhancement. Trait, 50% of your fame is added to the fame of your race. Household object. Being an everyday household object makes other beings less likely to notice you and mention you to others. Trait, small fame gain reduction. Trait, small presence reduction. Title, assumed intimacy. Despite being a living entity and continually in the presence of living entities, few have noticed your existence. Assuming that you to be an inanimate object, people are slightly less likely to notice you and less likely to notice your life energy. Trait: minor presence reduction. Trait: moderate life presence reduction. Title: Fork. You are a fork. As such, you are designed to pierce, scoop, and carry food. Trait: minute taste enhancement. Trait: minute piercing enhancement restricted to food. Trait: minute carry capacity increase restricted to food. Title: Second life. You have lived and died once before. While you died young and experienced nonetheless is an advantage over others. Stats: wisdom +1, intelligence +2. Title: clinically sane. You have experienced insanity and overcome it one way or another. The experience has changed you, for better or worse. Stats: luck +5, wisdom +1, dexterity +0.5, strength +0.5, intelligence +1. Title: Ouroboros. Like a serpent of legend, you bit your own tail, then you ate it. Weirdo. Stat: luck +2, charisma +1, wisdom -1, wisdom +2. Title: Undead Slaughterer. Killer of many horrors of the night, you can instinctively sense nearby undead, especially those harmful to you. All stats increase by 2 when attacking undead. End of titles. Traits: life energy absorption, average. Life energies heal you, causing you to regain durability. Death energy weakness, average. Death energy damages you, reducing your durability. Life affinity, minute. You find it easier to gain life-related skills and proficiencies than you did not have this trait. Negative death affinity, minute. You find it harder to gain death-related skills and proficiencies than if you did not have this trait. Fame gain reduction, minor. The amount of fame you gain is reduced. Presence reduction, small +1. Others are less likely to notice you. 50% fame added to racial fame. The fame of your race is equal to 50% of your fame plus the added fame of all other members of the species divided by the number of members of your species. Life presence reduction, moderate. Others are less likely to notice that you are alive. Taste enhancement, minute. All food that touches you tastes slightly better. Piercing enhancement, minute, restricted to food. It's slightly easier for you to pierce food. Carry capacity enhancement, minute, restricted to food. You can carry slightly more food than it appears would suggest. Mana touched, minor. Mana permeates your body, changing it in some ways. Herculean strength, large. In possession of an ability to exert strength far beyond your peers. Multiplies base strength before using a passive or active skills by 10. Structured sanity, moderate. A well-structured mind is a strong mind. You are resistant to mind-affecting or altering effects, such as fear, charm, and hypnosis. Magic metal. You have gained the properties of magic metal, mithril. Your body conducts mana at twice normal rate. You possess mana absorption is doubled. Your maximum mana is now equal to intelligence multiplied by 20, instead of intelligence multiplied by 10. Your maximum durability is increased by your maximum mana divided by 100. Your hardness is increased by max mana divided by 100. Psychic. You have unlocked the hidden potential of your mind. Stat unlocked. Psi. Poison resistance huge. You are completely immune to weak and ordinary poisons. The effects of more potent poisons on you are greatly reduced. Flea bitten, minor. Fleas instinctively move towards you. Physical damage reduction, minute. Damage taken that would do under 5% of your total durability is now reduced to 5%. Key practitioner. You have gained the ability to control the energy within you and to reinforce it with energy around you, enabling you to perform far beyond the normal limits of your body. Stat unlocked. Key. Waterproof. Minor. Water and many water-based fluids will slip off your surface with great ease. Featherweight. Minute. You feel light as a feather that weighs slightly less than you ordinarily did. That is, 1% weight reduction. Cat's flexibility, minor. Base dexterity is multiplied by 2. Range of movement and joints increased by 1.1 times. Curse resistance, minor. You have developed an innate resistance to curses, reduces the effect of weak curses on you. Heat resistance, minor. You have developed an innate resistance to heat, reduces discomfort and damage inflicted upon you by high temperatures, slightly increases your melting point. Skills. Absorb, Advanced, Racial, Low, Unique, 34.17%. Allows the absorption of energy or substances through the surface of the body or at a distance of int times wisdom divided by 10 millimeters. Rate of absorption can be controlled, although this ability is magical in nature as it is a form of mana control, and mana is also absorbed. Mana cost is 0. Currently, the only form of energy able to be absorbed is mana. Absorbing substances has a minor chance of giving traits, abilities, and skills relating to the substance. Mana Sight, Expert, Low Unique, Passive Toggled, 5.38%. You are capable of seeing smaller congregation of mana than before within intelligence times wisdom divided by 1.75 meters. Their forms are now distinct. You can now differentiate by mana type. Self-Repair, Master, Low Unique, Active, 10.95%. By expending a type of energy available to you, you can repair your own durability and recover your original form. Current energy is able to be used. Mana, Psi, Ki. Exchange rate 5 mana to 0.1 durability, 10 Psi to 0.1 durability, 10 Ki to 0.1 durability. Telepathy, Advanced, High Rare, Active, 41.15%. Allows one to communicate with other beings in exchange for 0.5 psi per sec multiplied by distance between the user and the target in meters to a maximum range of wisdom times intelligence divided by 5 meters. Allows the user to share emotions and thoughts with the recipient. Body of Deadly Poison, Advanced, Low Unique, Passive Toggled, 0.10%. Deadly poison courses through your entire body. So potent is the poison that even touching you will cause great sickness and partial paralysis for a short period of time. Potency of the poison scales a small amount with proficiency. Flee. Basic. Low Uncommon. Passive. Conditional. 3.28%. Multiplies base dexterity by 1.5 when running away from something. Will deactivate if offensive action is taken. Will not activate if you do not perceive the thing that you are running away from as a threat. Body of Weak Acid, Advanced, a mid-uncommon, passive toggled, 2.07%. A weak acid courses throughout your body and on your skin. So weak is this acid that it acts better as a cleaning agent than a weapon. Acidity scales minutely with a proficiency. Magic Edge, Advanced, Mid-Uncommon, Active, 7.14%. You have discovered how to clad the edge of your blade in magic power, increasing the power of your strikes. Increase in power varies depending on mana spent. Gaming, Minesweeper, Expert, Mid-Rare, Passive, 13.3%. You've sunk way too much time into this game, and despite the statistics saying 0 wins and 308 losses, you are way better at this than almost everyone else. Slightly increased analytical abilities, slight instinctive ability to correctly guess the outcome of a 50-50 gamble. Meditation, Master, High Rare, Active, 19.35%. Enter into a state of unburdened and worries of the physical world. There is only you and your thoughts that exist in this world. While in this state, mana regeneration is multiplied by 3, psi regeneration is multiplied by 3, ki generated at 25 times the normal rate. User is also calmed and receives slight resistance to mind-affecting or altering effects. Ki Blast, Advanced, Mid-Rare, Active, 47.28%. Expel ki from your body in a concentrated blast. Power varies with ki infused. With your lack of experience, you are not able to accurately control the amount of ki to infuse into the skill. It may vary by up to 10 points. Form Manipulation, Self, Expert, Low Unique, Active, 49.28%. Through the use of mana, you can manipulate your own form at will, cannot change density or mass, and costs 3.5 mana per second while changed form. Costs 6 mana per minute while in the form not of your original. Warning, do not use this ability if you are a race with aspects that could result in death if you were to change them, e.g. internal organs, mana pathways, etc. Lip Reading, Advanced, Mid-Uncommon, Passive, 84.26%. You have learned how to understand what people are saying by the movement of their lips. Doesn't hurt that you can see their tongue and their jaw movement either. Rarely inaccurate, you can usually tell what people are saying, unless they have some kind of crazy accent. Good luck with those. 9 lives, static, passive. You will avoid the next 8 attacks that would be deadly to you, seemingly by accident. After avoiding 8 attacks, the skill would disappear. Charges remaining, 8. Telekinesis, expert, mid-rare, active, 24.83%. Through psi, your mind pushes at the world around you, moving objects without the need for physical contact. More psi is required to produce greater forces, currently slightly ineffective. External key manipulation, basic, low rare, active, 0.51%. You have discovered how to manipulate key outside of your body. Doesn't mean you're any good at it. Difficulty of control increases drastically with the distance and quantity of key. Magic missile, expert, mid-uncommon, active, 91.5%. Fires a projectile of mana. Power scales with mana consumption, unable to exceed 50 mana per shot. Maximum range is intelligence times 1.75 per meter. If remotely controlled, there is an additional mana cost of 0.65 mana per second, otherwise directing the travel of the set of initial creation of shot. Mana control, expert, high uncommon, passive, 99.39%. Your practice with magic has led to a great familiarity with handling mana. Maximum quantity of mana able to be controlled reliably, 100 mana. Minimum quantity of mana being able to be controlled reliably, 0.2 mana. Power stab, advanced, high, common, active, 13.12%. Multiplies the speed and power of a stab by 1.2. Cooldown, 4 minutes. Mud bath, basic, low uncommon, passive, 0%. Your injuries heal faster when they are covered with mud, by 1.2 times. Slightly lower chance of contracting infection and parasites from this activity. However, as you are for most purposes an object, the skill does not affect you. Climbing, advanced, low uncommon, passive, 0%. You have a slightly increased ability to find handholds and footholds when climbing something, as well as a slightly increased ability to maintain grip on smaller handholds. Melee weaponry, spear, advanced, mid-common, passive, 0%. You have some experience using standard spear. Minor increases grip strength when wielding this weapon, and +1 to strength and dexterity while wielding this weapon. Maintaining this type of weapon is easier for you. Doppelganger, static, high, unique, active. Switch between your original appearance and that of a human male. Costs 1,000 mana per minute. Psychic translation, static, low, unique, passive. Through a subconscious psychic analysis of thought waves and language patterns, allows you to understand and temporarily speak any spoken language as it is your native tongue. Does not apply to non-vocal languages. Flattery, advanced, low, uncommon, passive, 0%. Skill and tireless effort is the surest way to the top, but sometimes a few lined pockets and some glitzy compliments are all you need. Others are more likely to have positive opinions of you, affected positively by charisma, synergy effect with deception skill. Deception, advanced, high common, passive, 0.07%. Whether the end game is a knife in the back or slowly drained bank accounts make no difference. It's not like they don't lie to you either. Others are more likely to believe your words, affected positively by charisma, synergize effect with flattery skill. Gaming, tic-tac-toe master, low unique, passive, 48.97%. You are the master of tic-tac-toe. Congratulations, slight instinctive ability to correctly guess the outcome of a 50-50 chance and 1 in 3 gambles. Multitasking, advanced, mid, uncommon, passive, 73.93%. You are skilled at doing multiple things at once. Small increase to your ability to keep track of multiple things at once. Small decrease in the reduction of precision when performing multiple tasks at once. Common language spoken, expert, high common, passive, 78.31%. You know most of the commonly used words in the common language. Only obscure and occupation-specific words are likely to be outside of your knowledge. Common language written, master, mid-common, passive, 13.62%. You cannot only read common right way up, but upside down, sideways, and reflected without much trouble. The very few words you don't recognize you can understand from context, and you can read like lightning if you need to. Small increases in the ability to ignore superfluous text and descriptions to find the actual information you want allows you to skip over information dumps and flowery descriptions without flinching even slightly. Earth Magic Advanced High Uncommon Passive 37.19%. You have a good grasp of multiple aspects of Earth Magic, including the creation of summoning, slight increase in mana efficiency spells control when casting Earth Magic spells. Formation Casting Advanced Mid-Uncommon Passive 68.06%. You have a firm grasp of casting magic through formations, slight increase in speed and precision when casting magic through formations. Creation Magic Advanced Mid-Uncommon Passive 24.67%. You have a good grasp on Creation Magic, slight increase in mana efficiency and spell control when casting Creation Magic spells. Light Magic Advanced High Uncommon Passive 31.10%. You have a good grasp on multiple aspects of light magic, including creation and illusion, slight increase in mana efficiency and spell control when casting light spells. Vocal Casting Basic Low Uncommon Passive 23.12%. You have a basic grasp of casting magic vocally. Terran Language Spoken Expert High Uncommon Passive 4.18%. You have a large vocabulary and have no problem engaging in simple conversation. Terran Language Written Expert High Uncommon Passive 14.16%. You have a large vocabulary and can understand most writing. Fire Magic Advanced Mild Uncommon Passive 42.42%. You have a good grasp on fire magic, particularly creation and destruction magic. Slight increases in mana efficiency and spell control when casting fire magic. Destruction Magic Advanced Mid-Uncommon Passive 23.84%. You have a good grasp of destruction magic. Slight increase in mana efficiency and spell control when casting destruction magic. Ignatia Language Written Expert High Uncommon Passive 8.04%. You have a large vocabulary and can understand most writing. Metallurgy Basic Low Uncommon Passive 92.75%. You have a decent theoretical knowledge of metals and alloys, but lack practical experience. Herbalism Basic Mid-Common Passive 59.11%. You have some knowledge about the names, appearances, and uses of common and even rarer herbs, but lack practical experience. Water Magic Advanced Mid-Uncommon Passive 19.09%. You have a good grasp of water magic, particularly creation magic. Slight increase in mana efficiency and spell control when casting water magic. Darkness Magic Advanced High Uncommon Passive 3.94%. You have a good grasp on darkness magic, particularly creation magic. Slight increase in mana efficiency and spell control when casting darkness magic. Summoning Magic Basic Mid-Uncommon Passive 96.72%. You have a basic grasp of summoning magic. Aquian Language Written Advanced High Uncommon Passive 64.32%. You have a good vocabulary and can understand most things written in this language, although in some cases it may take some time. End of chapter.
And that, my friends, is the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please consider supporting the author from the links down below. And if you'd like to support this channel, there are numerous ways listed down below. The easiest of which would be to share this channel, subscribe, like, and comment, and all the other stuff that Google wants us to push. But anyways, until the next video, I hope that you all have a good one, and I'll see you then. Cheers.